New at 10, shooting an intruder. It's something that all gun owners could face.
Are you prepared if that could happen to you? And what happens after the gunshots? You could be held liable for thousands of dollars in damages. Our Tom Murray shows us how homeowners can protect themselves. Tom.
Well, Carol, Mike, in a recent PSA, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark told people to get a gun and take action if they need to. Well, have you ever thought about what would happen if you actually had to shoot someone in order to protect you and your family? Someone breaks into your house, you find your gun and shoot. We've seen cases right here in Wisconsin. Last year, a man in Slinger shot and killed a young man he thought was breaking into his home. And just this past weekend, a man chased and shot at an 18-year-old burglary suspect near Wauwatosa. The state's castle doctrine protects homeowners who shoot intruders during a break-in. So what are the real consequences if you pull the trigger?
Once the bullet leaves the gun, you can't take it back.
There are services out there to help homeowners if the unthinkable happens.
We're really here to protect families that need to protect themselves.
Nazir Al-Mujahid is a husband and father to 8 children.
I have to live and breathe in order to protect my family.
He's also a proud Milwaukee gun owner.
And my family has a tradition of having firearms for shooting and for self-defense purposes. So the key was really education more than anything else.
He used that education when he took out his gun at an Aldi store a couple years ago and shot an armed robber.
No one expects these types of things to happen.
But they do happen, both in public and in people's homes. Brian Doro is Associate Dean of Criminal Justice at Waukesha County Technical College. He teaches people how to practice the Second Amendment safely.
It's a huge responsibility. It's your right, but at the same time, the training is what will take you a long way.
He says even if a homeowner shoots an intruder in self-defense, he or she could face some scrutiny.
You may satisfy all the legal requirements. You may be completely justified, but ultimately, you may still be subject to some civil litigation or a civil lawsuit.
That's where services like Second Defense Alliance, or SDA, come in. It's a new group that helps handle the legal, financial, and emotional risks of shooting a home invader.
The biggest thing is that people just don't think about what they would do after they defend themselves with a firearm.
For about $11 a month, a legal gun owner can become a member. SDA will take care of all the messy cleanup of a home shooting. Doro says it's a good idea for gun owners to make sure they're protected in some way.
My recommendation is just check with your insurance agent to see how you're covered and in what capacity are you covered.
And if you aren't covered, it's recommended you get some sort of protection.
I would advise people, if they're looking at insurance or covering themselves, number one is to shop around, obviously, to be a smart consumer.
SDA says the thing that sets them apart is an emphasis on paying for counseling if a homeowner has to shoot an intruder.
The average citizen has nothing. There are no support services out there.
Nazir hopes he never has to use his gun again, but if he does, he's glad he has the right to use it in self-defense and that he's protected.
It's better to have it and not need it than need to not have it.
Second Defense Alliance started services last September, and so far the company has about 2,000 members across the U.S., including 15 in Wisconsin, so it's still a relatively new business and a relatively new concept. Carol and Mike?